I was working in a startup company here in Copenhagen. We had an office just over here actually. And for years, like 2 years, we used elance.com to find people to work for us from all over the world, from India, from Europe, from the US. And one day the Elance wrote in their newsletter, hey, you got a cool story, then can you tell us? And then I wrote a piece called, I think I called it Around the World in 80 Minutes, because then I described how I would come to the office in the morning and then I basically speak to everybody all over the world within 80 minutes. And then from time to time they started using me as a case study client. So if media said, okay, how is your company working? Then they said, maybe you can speak to Steffen because he's a good client of ours and he knows how the platform is working. Then, fast forward 2 years, unexpectedly, Elance was about to open their first office outside of the US. They opened up in Oslo. And then they asked me, hey, do you want to join our company? So I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I've been working in a startup for 2 years, so it'd be pretty good to get some solid pay for once. But it just shows you that, like, what all of these guys are trying to be saying, like, don't go for the regular job boards where 100 people or 200 people is approaching you or like bidding for the same job. You gotta go under the radar in some way. Don't go directly for the job. So I think you should consider the fact that like Bourdieu, the famous French philosopher, what he was saying, that there's more forms of capital. So maybe you can do some stuff right now that doesn't generate any cash for you, but like, for example, me writing that job post. But because I was doing something extraordinary out of just my own pleasure and just to contribute a little bit, 2 years later that comes back in terms of a job. So like that could be like you guys been talking about as well, volunteering, and it could be working for free, just blogging, whatever. So you can save up capital in this world as well, just without making money in the beginning. It will come back later. So really consider that. Invite people for coffee. If you know something really specific that a company should know about, just go. Say, can I tell you about this thing? Maybe they like you, maybe they don't, but you'll still get in the door rather than saying, I want this job. No, you cannot have this job. So that was a short introduction about me. The company I'm working for is called elance.com. And yeah, you can see our run rate right now. There's 127,000 jobs there right now, meaning that this is freelance jobs from all over the world that companies are posting. And then we have freelancers sitting all over the world in Denmark, Norway, Romania, India, the US, and bidding for these jobs. So the way it really works is that a company would load a job on our platform, give it a headline, give it a description, and then put it into some specific categories, being like, for example, IT and programming, a subcategory called web programming, and then some specific skills which is needed to solve the job, along with a timeline on when it needs to be done and what kind of hourly rate that you're willing to pay. And then freelancers on the other end of the platform, they have registered all these skills already and what they want to be paid for doing a job. And then our platform matches these two kind of things, so whatever kind of skill you guys are sitting with, I don't know, it could, for example, be Italian to English translation, Italian to Danish translation. When you register your specific niche skills, you will get a mail from the platform when something fits your specific competence. And with a run rate of 127,000 jobs every month, there's a whole lot of opportunities out there. We do have a lot of freelancers out there as well, so you will be competing with a lot of people all over the world. But if you're doing a good job, if you're writing good proposals to these guys who are posting the jobs, there's a lot of opportunities out there. And it really, this platform really allows for, we talk a lot about escaping your local economy, meaning that, for example, it can be hard to find a job in Copenhagen right now, but maybe a company up in Oslo needs somebody who can do Italian to English translation or whatever it could be. It could also be something like we see in Spain. There's a lot of youth unemployment. They cannot really find a job locally, and then they go to our platform, register a profile with whatever education that they do have, and then they start to get jobs for companies all over the world.
Do you have any tips on how to write, good proposals and for these kind of websites?
Yeah. Actually, the best thing I would say, there's a whole lot of blog articles out there on the internet about this. So if you start searching how to get a job on Elance, or there's especially one on a website called lifehacker.com, which he wrote an article how I made $25,000 in 4 weeks on Elance or something like that. That's really, really long, and he's testing all kinds of different replies to get. But search for how to get a job on Elance, and you'll see a whole lot of blog posts out there. And yeah, it can be tough to get the first job, but when you get the first job, you get a review from your customer, and if you get a good rating from your customer, the next job will be easier. Then you get another job, and then you have 2 good reviews, and so forth. So it really becomes transparent if you're doing a good or a bad job. If you're doing bad work, you're not going to have an easy time getting your next job. But if you're doing good work for your clients, then you get good reviews, and then the next job is going to be easier for you to get. Some general advice would really be to focus on your niche skills, because if you go out and say, I can do PowerPoint or I can do Excel, then there's a million people all over the world who can do the same thing, maybe faster, maybe cheaper, because they live in a cheaper country than expensive Denmark. So you don't want to be in competition with them. But if you do focus on your niche skills, I don't know if you have somebody speaking Urdu who can translate Urdu to Danish or the other way around, that would be a really good niche skills, and there's not a lot of people who can do that. So focus tightly on what is your niche skills and only go for those jobs at the beginning, so you can get some good reviews there, and when you can start doing good jobs, you can go for bigger jobs, and maybe you also will need to hire freelancers on our platform. So yeah, I think let's keep it that simple. You can go there, register your profile with whatever skills you have. You put in your LinkedIn information, but you can also take tests on our website where you're going to be compared to other users on our platform. You can upload your portfolio if you have work you have done other places. And then, yeah, just start bidding for the jobs, and as I said, research and Google how to get jobs on Elance. There's plenty of people writing about it. And yeah, who knows, then you'll have at some point a completely mobile lifestyle where you don't have to sit in an office but can work from a beach or a boat or wherever you like to work.
So perhaps people have some.
Do you, yeah.
How do you check the credentials of the freelancers? For example, translators, that you have a degree, that you're a professional, like if they're a system?
You can, first of all, you register your formal education, but then you also get a review every time you do a job, so people can look at that. But we also do have, I think we have like 1,000 tests, and you'll have it there, for example, English to Spanish, or the other way around, Spanish to English, and then you can see how you tested compared to the other people on the platform.
Okay. But there's no way of checking, like, that you have that degree, that you're...
No, we don't like to do that, but it's always good to do a test when you want to work together with people. So say that you have 1,000 words that you need translated, then could you maybe translate 100 of these words and then have a quick look at what they're doing. And that's a good way to get started. But it's also like, you can set up a Skype interview whether if you're gonna be hired or whether if you're hiring people, and just, ask some critical questions to them. Do you feel safe about working for this person? Another good thing to mention is that before you start a job on our platform, we use something called escrow accounts, which is virtual accounts. So if a client hired you to translate something for him, you'll ask him to fund the project. That means pushing money into a virtual account. Then you can see that he do have money, but you're not getting the money before he presses, yes, this job is complete. So in that way, we're protecting both parties. Should there be a dispute, we have a dispute team as well who goes in and read, he said that, she said that, this is the person who's right.
But if he
If
if he takes the work and then not pay you, can this happen?
One more time?
Like you did the job.
Yeah.
He takes the work, but he doesn't pay you. Can this happen?
That's why we use these virtual accounts. So he cannot take money back from the virtual account.
Okay.
So it's pushed online, and you guys have an agreement. You deliver the work that he needs to do, or that you need to do, You say you're done, you press a button saying I'm done. Then the system could see, okay, now she's done. And if he doesn't release the money within 5-7 days, we'll automatically do it. If he says you've not completed the job, then the dispute team would go and read who's right or not. But the good thing is that the whole thing is digitally transparent.
Are there any situations like this? Have you encountered any situations like this that somebody's not satisfied or they claim they're not satisfied and they...
With this volume that we have, it happens every day, but it's like 0.5% of the time. It's because like you do make the agreement you make online is just as obligating as the one that you would make offline, and people know that this is the setup and this is how it works. And like you can also see, if you're a freelancer, you can see the client gets a review every time as well. So it's really transparent, and you can really see who the good and bad guys are over time. But also be critical about the people you choose to collaborate with.
About tax, how does it work?
The tax, yeah. So the way the tax works is really that you need to stay according to the rules of your country, meaning that when you completed a job on our platform and invoice is generated, it says how much did you earn, how much is mums. If it's a Danish company that's higher than there's mums, then you need to go and tell your tax authority or your accountant that I made this money that is on my bank account now, and he'll just register it as accordingly to the invoice. So stay within the rules of Denmark if you're working from here.